It was a quiet, foggy night in Springfield when the first whispers began. Parents warned their children to stay indoors after sunset, and neighbors exchanged uneasy glances over picket fences. The legend of the Sack Man had arrived, and with it, a wave of fear that would grip the town for years to come. But this was no ordinary boogeyman story. This was something darker, something real. The tale of the Sack Man is an old one, rooted in folklore across the globe. In some versions, he's a shadowy figure who roams the streets with a burlap sack, snatching misbehaving children. In others, he's a vengeful spirit, cursed to wander for eternity. But in Springfield, the legend took on a life of its own. Here, the Sack Man wasn't just a story. He was a nightmare made flesh. It all started in the fall of 1987. A young boy named Tommy Grayson vanished on his way home from school. His backpack was found near the edge of the woods, its contents spilled across the ground. Nearby, a single burlap sack lay crumpled in the dirt. The police searched for days, but Tommy was never found. The only clue: a witness who claimed to see a tall, shadowy figure carrying a sack into the trees. Then, just weeks later, another child disappeared. This time, it was a girl named Emily Carter. Her parents reported hearing a strange scratching sound outside their home the night she vanished. When they checked, they found muddy footprints leading to her bedroom window, and a torn piece of burlap caught on the sill. The town was in a panic. Parents kept their children indoors, and the streets of Springfield grew eerily quiet after dark. But the disappearances didn't stop. Over the next few months, 3 more children vanished under similar circumstances. Each time there was a burlap sack left behind, a chilling calling card that tied the cases together. The police were baffled. Was this the work of a serial kidnapper, a deranged lunatic, or was something more sinister at play? Rumors began to spread like wildfire. Some said the Sack Man was a drifter who had come to town, preying on the vulnerable. Others believed he was a ghost, cursed to steal children as punishment for some long-forgotten sin. And then there were those who whispered about experiments gone wrong, secret government projects, and even alien abductions. The truth was buried beneath layers of fear and speculation, and the people of Springfield were desperate for answers. As the years passed, the legend of the Sack Man became a part of Springfield's identity. Parents used the story to keep their children in line, and teenagers dared each other to venture into the woods at night. But for those who had lost loved ones, the Sack Man was no legend. He was a monster, a shadow that still haunted their dreams. In this video, we'll dive deep into the chilling case of the Sack Man in Springfield. We'll explore the disappearances, the evidence, and the theories that have kept this mystery alive for decades. Was the Sack Man a man at all, or was he something far more terrifying? Join us as we uncover the truth behind one of the most haunting legends in American history. The town of Springfield, once a quiet and unassuming community, was thrust into the national spotlight as the disappearances piled up. The case of the Sack Man became a chilling puzzle, one that left investigators and residents alike grasping for answers. But what exactly happened during those fateful months in 1987? Let's piece together the timeline and examine the evidence that turned a local legend into a terrifying reality. The first disappearance. Tommy Grayson. It all began on October 12, 1987. Tommy Grayson, a bright-eyed 8-year-old, was walking home from school when he vanished. His route was a familiar one. a short path through the woods that connected his school to his neighborhood. But that day, Tommy never made it home. His backpack was discovered near the edge of the woods, its contents scattered. Nearby, a burlap sack lay crumpled on the ground, its coarse fibers stained with what appeared to be dirt, or something darker. Witnesses reported seeing a tall, shadowy figure lurking near the woods that afternoon, but no one could provide a clear description. The police launched a massive search, but Tommy was never found. The only clue: a single word scrawled in the dirt near his backpack: gone. The second disappearance: Emily Carter. Just 3 weeks later, the sack man struck again. Emily Carter, a 7-year-old girl, vanished from her bedroom in the dead of night. Her parents reported hearing a strange scratching sound outside their home, like fingernails dragging against the window pane. When they investigated, they found muddy footprints leading to Emily's window and a torn piece of burlap caught on the sill. Inside her room, her bed was empty, the sheets tossed aside as if she had been taken in a hurry. The police found no signs of forced entry, leaving them baffled. How had the sack man gotten in? And why had Emily gone without a struggle? The third disappearance: Michael Turner. By November, the town was on edge. Parents kept their children indoors and the streets were eerily quiet after dark. But the sack man wasn't done. On November 9th, 1987, 9-year-old Michael Turner disappeared while playing in his backyard. His mother had only stepped inside for a moment to answer the phone. When she returned, Michael was gone. A burlap sack was found near the fence, its opening tied shut with a frayed rope. Inside, investigators discovered a single item: Michael's favorite toy car. It was as if the sack man was taunting them, leaving behind a cruel reminder of the child he had taken. The fourth disappearance: Sarah Mitchell. The fourth victim, 6-year-old Sarah Mitchell, vanished on December 1st, 1987. This time, the sack man left behind a chilling message. Sarah's parents found a note pinned to their front door, written in jagged, uneven letters: "You can't stop me." The note was accompanied by another burlap sack, this one empty but reeking of mildew and decay. The police were at a loss. How could someone move so freely, taking children without leaving a trace? And why were the burlap sacks always left behind like some macabre signature? The fifth disappearance: Daniel Harris. The final disappearance occurred on December 20th, 1987. Daniel Harris, a 10-year-old boy, was last seen walking his dog near the edge of the woods. When the dog returned alone, Daniel's parents knew something was wrong. A search party combed the area, but all they found was Daniel's leash and another burlap sack, this one partially buried in the dirt. Inside the sack was a small handwritten note: "I'll be back." The investigation. The police worked tirelessly to solve the case, but every lead seemed to hit a dead end. Witnesses reported seeing a tall, shadowy figure in the area, but no one could provide a clear description. The burlap sacks were analyzed, but they yielded no useful evidence. The notes left behind were written in block letters, making it impossible to identify the handwriting. The only thing the police knew for certain was that the sack man was real, and he wasn't finished. As the months turned into years, the case grew cold. The disappearances stopped as suddenly as they had begun, leaving the town of Springfield to grapple with the aftermath. But the legend of the sack man lived on, a dark shadow that still looms over the town to this day. In the next chapter, we'll explore the theories surrounding the sack man. Was he a man, a monster, or something else entirely? Join us as we delve into the mysteries that continue to haunt Springfield. The disappearances in Springfield left behind more than just grief and fear. They sparked a whirlwind of theories and speculations. Who or what was the Sack Man? Was he a cunning criminal, a supernatural entity, or something even more unfathomable? As the case grew colder, the theories grew wilder, each one attempting to explain the unexplainable. Let's dive into the most compelling ideas surrounding the Sack Man and the mysteries of Springfield. Theory 1. The serial kidnapper. The most straightforward explanation is that the Sack Man was a human predator, a serial kidnapper with a twisted agenda. Proponents of this theory point to the meticulous nature of the crimes. The Sack Man seemed to know the town intimately, targeting children in ways that left little evidence behind. The burlap sacks, the notes, and the timing of the disappearances all suggest a calculated mind at work. Some investigators believe the Sack Man may have been a drifter, or someone who blended into the community, allowing him to move unnoticed. Others speculate that he had a personal connection to the victims, perhaps even someone the families knew and trusted. However, without a clear suspect or motive, this theory remains shrouded in uncertainty. Theory 2. The supernatural entity. For many, the Sack Man's ability to evade capture and leave behind no trace points to something beyond human comprehension. Could he have been a supernatural being, a ghost, a demon, or even a vengeful spirit? Folklore is filled with tales of shadowy figures who steal children, and some believe the Sack Man is one of these entities made real. Witnesses describe the Sack Man as unnaturally tall and cloaked in darkness, his movements almost too quick to follow. The burlap sacks, often associated with death and decay in folklore, could be seen as a symbol of his otherworldly nature. And then there are the notes, chilling messages that seem to defy logic. How could a human leave no fingerprints, no DNA, no trace of their presence? For those who believe in the supernatural, the Sack Man is a haunting reminder that not everything can be explained by science. Theory 3. The government experiment. In the 1980s, conspiracy theories about secret government programs were rampant. Some believed the Sack Man was the result of a failed experiment, a human subject turned into a monster, or even a genetically engineered being designed for nefarious purposes. The disappearances, they argue, were part of a larger plan to test the limits of human fear and obedience. This theory gained traction when a local journalist uncovered documents suggesting that Springfield had been a site of interest for a shadowy government agency in the years leading up to the disappearances. Could the Sack Man have been a test subject who escaped? Or was he a tool used to cover up something even darker? While there's no concrete evidence to support this theory, it remains a favorite among conspiracy enthusiasts. Theory 4. The urban legend come to life. Some argue that the Sack Man was never real, at least not in the way people think. Instead, they believe the disappearances were the work of a copycat criminal inspired by the legend. The burlap sacks, the notes, and the shadowy figure could all have been carefully staged to create the illusion of a supernatural threat. This theory suggests that the Sack Man was a smokescreen, designed to distract from the true nature of the crimes. Perhaps the real culprit was someone with a personal vendetta against the families, or even a group of individuals working together. By invoking the legend, they ensured that the case would remain shrouded in mystery, making it harder for investigators to uncover the truth. Theory 5. The collective hysteria. Another possibility is that the Sack Man was a product of mass hysteria. In times of fear and uncertainty, people often look for explanations, even if those explanations defy logic. The disappearances in Springfield were undeniably tragic, But could they have been the result of unrelated events that were later tied together by a frightened community? Psychologists point to the power of suggestion and the human tendency to find patterns where none exist. Once the legend of the sack man took hold, every strange sound, every shadow, and every unexplained event became evidence of his presence. In this view, the sack man is less a physical being and more a manifestation of the town's collective fear. The unanswered questions. Despite the many theories, the case of the sack man remains unsolved. Why did the disappearances stop as suddenly as they began? What was the significance of the burlap sacks and the notes? And perhaps most importantly, where are the children? Some believe the sack man moved on to another town, continuing his reign of terror elsewhere. Others think he may have died or been captured, his crimes hidden from the public. And then there are those who insist he's still out there, waiting for the right moment to strike again. In the final chapter, we'll explore the legacy of the sack man and the impact he had on Springfield. How did the town recover, or did it? And what lessons can we learn from this chilling case? Join us as we uncover the lasting effects of one of the most haunting mysteries in American history. The disappearances in Springfield may have stopped, but the shadow of the sack man lingers. Decades later, the case remains one of the most haunting mysteries in American history, leaving behind a legacy of fear, fascination, and unanswered questions. What happened to the children? Who or what was the sack man? And how did a small town recover from such a traumatic event? In this final chapter, we'll explore the lasting impact of the sack man and the lessons we can learn from this chilling tale. The aftermath in Springfield. In the years following the disappearances, Springfield became a town forever changed. Parents kept their children indoors, and the streets that once buzzed with laughter fell silent after dark. The sack man became a cautionary tale, a name whispered to keep children in line. Be good, or the sack man will get you, parents warned, their voices tinged with unease. The town's economy suffered as well. Businesses closed and families moved away, unable to bear the weight of the tragedy. For those who stayed, the disappearances became a shared burden, a dark chapter in the town's history that no one wanted to revisit, but no one could forget. The search for closure. Despite the passage of time, the families of the missing children never gave up hope. They organized search parties, held vigils, and lobbied for the case to remain open. But as the years turned into decades, the trail grew colder. The burlap sacks, the notes, and the few pieces of evidence collected by investigators offered no new leads. The sack man had vanished as mysteriously as he had appeared. In 2007, on the 20th anniversary of the disappearances, the town held a memorial service for the victims. A plaque was erected in the town square, bearing the names of Tommy Grayson, Emily Carter, Michael Turner, Sarah Mitchell, and Daniel Harris. For many, it was a chance to honor the children and find a measure of peace. But for others, the plaque was a painful reminder of the questions that remained unanswered. The sack man in popular culture. The legend of the sack man transcended Springfield, becoming a part of American folklore. Books, movies, and TV shows have drawn inspiration from the case, each offering their own interpretation of the events. Some portray the sack man as a deranged killer, while others depict him as a supernatural entity. Regardless of the portrayal, the sack man has become a symbol of fear, a reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. One of the most famous adaptations is the 1995 horror film The Shadow in the Woods, which fictionalized the events in Springfield. While the movie took creative liberties, It reignited public interest in the case, prompting a new wave of theories and speculation. To this day, the Sack Man remains a popular subject in true crime documentaries and podcasts, ensuring that the mystery endures. Theories revisited. In recent years, advances in technology have given investigators new tools to revisit cold cases. DNA analysis, facial reconstruction, and digital forensics have all been used to shed light on unsolved crimes. Could these tools finally crack the case of the Sack Man? Some believe so. In 2019, a team of amateur sleuths claimed to have uncovered new evidence linking the disappearances to a drifter who had passed through Springfield in the late 1980s. According to their theory, the drifter, a former carnival worker, had a fascination with burlap sacks and a history of violent behavior. While the theory remains unproven, it has reignited hope that the case could one day be solved. Others, however, argue that the Sack Man's true nature may never be known. Whether he was a man, a monster, or something else entirely, his crimes defy easy explanation. And perhaps that's what makes the legend so enduring. The idea that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. Lessons learned. The case of the Sack Man serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of safety and the power of fear. It shows how a community can be torn apart by tragedy, but also how it can come together in the face of adversity. The people of Springfield may never know what happened to their children, but they have found ways to honor their memory and keep their stories alive. For the rest of us, the Sack Man is a cautionary tale, a reminder to stay vigilant, to protect the vulnerable, and to never stop seeking the truth. It's a story that challenges us to confront our deepest fears and to question the world around us. Because in the end, the Sack Man isn't just a legend. He's a reflection of the darkness that exists within us all. The final question. As we close this chapter, one question remains. Will the truth about the Sack Man ever come to light? Or will he remain a shadowy figure, forever lurking in the corners of our imagination? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The legend of the Sack Man will continue to haunt us, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of darkness. If you have any theories or insights about the Sack Man, share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that explore the unexplained.